anyone can make a Deco mesh wreath, and today I'm showing you how to make this beautiful one for fall. To start, I have this 14-inch wire wreath form I got from the dollar store, and I'll be adding different Deco mesh ribbons from Michaels, including this fall plaid one with yellow, green, orange, and red, and also this one, which is more of a sturdy burlap with different colors of pumpkins on it. I'll also be adding this burlap ribbon into the wreath. Starting with this plaid Deco mesh, I'm stretching it out on my cutting mat, and using a rotary cutter, I'm cutting pieces that are 8 inches long. In total, I'm cutting 13 of these plaid Deco mesh pieces. I highly recommend cutting these with a rotary cutter like I'm doing here. It makes it really easy and super fast. Next, I'm cutting this roll of burlap that has all of the pumpkins on it. I love the colors of these with the oranges and blue and green. I'm also cutting these pieces with my rotary cutter at the 8-inch mark on my cutting mat. And in total, I'm just cutting 4 of these pumpkin burlap pieces. Next, I'm cutting this roll of burlap into 8-inch strips again. This time I'm using my scissors to cut them because I found that my rotary cutter wasn't quite doing the trick for me, and I found the scissors just a little bit easier for this one. In total, I'm cutting 9 of these burlap strips. Now it's time to turn these Deco mesh pieces into bows. I'm going to do something a little bit different than I've done before. To start with, I'm using my fingers to kind of scrunch the Deco mesh piece together. Now it looks kind of like a bow. Then I'm folding it in half, so both of those bow pieces are side by side. Now I'm taking a pipe cleaner and wrapping it around this bottom part of my bow to keep the Deco mesh together. I'm leaving the ends of the pipe cleaner long so I can tie this Deco mesh piece around my wire wreath form. On to the next piece. I'm kind of folding over the bottom a little bit and then using my fingers to walk it up the ribbon and scrunching it together to make a bow. Then folding it like so. And I'm going to use the pipe cleaner I used for the last bow to also tie this one onto the wreath form. Next, I'm taking one of these pumpkin burlap pieces, and because this ribbon is a lot more stiff than the Deco mesh, I'm going to fold it accordion style, flipping it back and forth, folding over a little bit at a time. Maybe about an inch wide is how I made the accordion, going back and forth, turning it over, folding it, then turning it back over and folding it again until the whole ribbon piece is folded up. Now it looks like this cute little bow, and I'm folding it so the 2 fan parts are side by side. And I'm taking another pipe cleaner and wrapping it around the bottom and twisting it tight to keep it all together. Now using that same pipe cleaner, I'm tying this burlap bow onto the wreath. I'm adding another one of the plaid Deco mesh pieces to the back of the wreath. Moving on to my last type of ribbon that I'm using for this wreath is the plain burlap. I'm walking my fingers up the burlap piece, scrunching it all together in the center so it looks like a bow, then folding it so those 2 fanned out pieces are at the top side by side, then using a pipe cleaner to twist around the bottom to keep the bow together. And of course, using that same pipe cleaner piece to tie the bow onto the wreath. I'm continuing to fold more bows and add them to the wreath. The best part of this is you can totally play around and see where you want everything to go and adjust as needed. I definitely didn't have an exact plan of where I was going to put all of my Deco mesh and burlap pieces, but as I went, I figured out kind of a pattern that I liked with the plaid in the background and the pumpkin pieces front and center, and then of course the plain burlap kind of popping out in between to fill it all out. Now these burlap pumpkin bows that I made, I found it a little bit tricky to keep together with the pipe cleaners. I think because it was a much more stiff material, it just wanted to kind of open up and escape from the pipe cleaner. So I did add some bits of hot glue in between all the different layers of the folds that I had made to try to keep it together more. And then I still went in again with the pipe cleaner to tie it around. And I think this helped give it a little bit more security. This is something to definitely play around with depending on the type of ribbon that you're using or the type of burlap. But if you find that something's not working for you, then definitely adapt it like I'm doing with the hot glue or the pipe cleaners, or you could use floral wire to tie these all together if you have that. There are lots of different ways to accomplish the same thing. And with every deco mesh and burlap piece that I'm rolling and folding, I'm not necessarily taking a new pipe cleaner and wrapping it around it every time. I'm using some of the pipe cleaners that are already on the wreath and wrapping them around the new bows to attach them to the wreath form. I think for my first bow, I had cut the pipe cleaner in half to wrap it around because the pipe cleaner seemed much too big than what I needed it for. But after that, I typically just kept the pipe cleaners their existing length because I can use the one pipe cleaner to tie a few different bows onto the wreath, which is really handy. And then you don't need to use as many pipe cleaners. This is what the wreath looks like with all of the burlap and the ribbons finished. I am going to add some more fall and details to the wreath by adding some fun fall florals. Right now I'm just planning out where I'm going to be putting my fall picks and leaves. I have these yellow picks and I think I'm going to use 3 of them. So I'm just arranging them around the wreath in a circle. I also want to cover up those pipe cleaners there. So I'm using these florals and leaves a little strategically to hide those pipe cleaners. I'm adding some dots of hot glue, then pressing the florals onto them. And now I'm taking these little leaves and berries and adding them into the wreath among the burlap ribbon pieces. To hang the wreath, I'm going to use this light creamy beige rope that I have. I'm cutting a pipe cleaner in half, then using it to tie the rope onto my wreath. This twine or rope is pretty thick, and at first I tried tying it around the wreath form, but it really didn't work very well and didn't seem like it was going to stay. So that's why I'm using this pipe cleaner method, and it seems to have been working really well. The wreath is staying up on my door. I had to use my rotary cutter to cut off this rope because my scissors were just not doing the trick. But I cut off how much rope I needed, and I'm tying the other end onto the wreath with the other half of the pipe cleaner. Now the fall deco mesh wreath is complete, ready to hang on the front door. I'm so happy with how this turned out. I just think it's so beautiful and really so easy to make and can be customized in so many different ways with any florals or leaves or even different patterns of ribbon that you like. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.